Howdy folks, Dave of Chaos Crafting here. Today we're going to make a custom miniature box out of chipboard. I've already put one together here as an example, and this is medium weight chipboard, and just going to be gluing it together. It's kind of rough on the outside, but that's okay. I plan on doing some extra to the outside when we're done. So here's the chipboard. You can get this from Amazon or Michael's. You're going to need a really sharp X-Acto, a pen for marking out your cuts, and a good steel ruler that has millimeters, because I'm going to do this in millimeters. I just find it easier. And some paper. I got brown craft paper here. And a plan. Got to have a plan. So this is going to be for my mini tray that I'm getting from Feldherr. I'll put a link down in the bottom. Feldherr. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, so the bottom. That's where we're going to start. We're going to do the top after we've done the bottom. And coffee. Never go crafting without coffee. Okay. We're going to speed things up here because I know you don't want to sit around for an hour and watch me actually cut this box out. First thing, measure twice. Always measure twice. Cut once. The old adage. The chipboard is not expensive, but you don't want to waste it. And you don't want to waste your time. So measure twice. Make sure you're getting the dimensions exact, because it gets important when you want to fit all of this together. So on size, of course, you can make a box any size you want. But for this video, I'm making a box to hold a Feldherr half-size mini tray. This is a foam tray that Feldherr makes, holds 12 miniatures, costs about $8, very inexpensive. And I think it would be very nice for me to have some of these boxes to go with these foam trays so I could store D&D miniatures for my D&D games. When you're cutting, you have to take into account the thickness of the material. This medium weight chipboard is about 1.5 millimeters in thickness. I'll try to calculate that into the design. Sometimes you just have to play it by ear. Assemble it, allow your, human errors to occur, and then measure your end product. Here, I'm starting to cut strips of the craft paper. Since the edges of the chipboard are just going to be butted together with glue, I'm going to use strips of paper to wrap around the edges to add some stability. Next, I'll be putting down a bead of glue on the paper on the edge of the base. Make sure your chipboard is straight. Alright, I'm going to get a triangle. Just a drawing aid I've had laying around. I'll use that to make sure that the corner is exactly 90 degrees. Then I'll go ahead and measure out for the next cut, and I'll update my design so when I make my next one, I know exactly what I have to do. All right, keep cutting, keep measuring. Okay, jumping forward a couple minutes. Let's fold over those paper strips on the edge. That will give that connection on the edge greater stability. I am also going to run a bead of glue on the inside to help tie everything together. I know this is probably a little overkill, but I'm doing it anyway. All right, time to update the design with the actual measurements after I've glued everything together. And get this glue off my fingers, and time to start on the top. Alrighty, so the top top is done just like the bottom, except it's going to be a little larger to allow it to slip over the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bottom and I'm going to set it on top of this new piece of chipboard, and I'm going to measure out what visually looks correct for the overhang. Alrighty, same process as the top. Measure out the base for the inside of the lid, and then I measure out the sides of the lid. Cut them out, apply the strips of craft paper, glue everything together, wrap those edges over, and we'll see if it fits on top. Going to make the lid depth about 20-25 millimeters. You don't want your lid to be too deep because then it will be difficult to remove. There'd be too much friction, especially if you add anything wrapping around it, say like decoration. We'll talk about that later. And we're done. All right, I know you're going, but Dave, what do we do now? Well, it's a box, and eventually I'm going to put miniatures into it. And I will have, some type of design on the outside. Let me show you what the possibilities are. Aha! So this is a box I made, and I wrapped it with torn up Dragon magazines. I know, these are from 1984, and I used Mod Podge to seal it all together. It's called like decollage, very fancy, artsy. So I've got these Dragon magazines that I'm going to use as art to wrap the boxes with. That's why we need a little extra tolerance, because I'm going to wrap a couple layers of paper around it. Here's a box that I made for my D&D stuff, my dice, DM things, and I keep it all together. I'll probably make another video where I demonstrate the decollage, like with this one here, and you just let your creativity flow. Until next time, folks. Hey, hit like, subscribe. Peace.